My name is Ravi Bhagat, and today we'll be discussing the history of Li and Fung, the global supply chain manager. The firm was started in 1906 by an interpreter who spoke both Chinese and English. At that point, and throughout most of its history, it was a trading business. The business began struggling in the 1970s, and the then owner solicited the help of his two sons, both out west Harvard MBA graduates. As discussed by Victor Li, one of those two sons in the Harvard Business Review, the firm then underwent three distinct phases. The first phase was as a regional sourcing agent. During this phase, the company sourced individual components of parts. So during this time, their clients would approach Li and Fung, and request their help finding individual parts. Li and Fung would then scour its factory network in Hong Kong and attempt to procure that part for their client. As the commissions for those individual parts dwindled, the firm realized it needed to shift its strategy and engage in the second phase as a manager and deliverer of manufacturing programs. During this time, Li and Fung would be approached by their clients who would come to them with a general idea of the product they wanted to create. Li and Fung would then continue scouring its factories, but offer different options, allowing the client to have a greater flexibility. This, of course, also afforded Li and Fung to increase the amount it charged to its clients, as it was offering something that it hadn't before. During this time, they actually grew so successful that the labor in Hong Kong, where the factories were located, increased precipitously, slimming the margins for Li and Fung's clients. So the company then engaged in the third phase, where they expanded outside of Hong Kong into China to source the cheapest labor. During this phase, a lot of the work would continue to be done in Hong Kong, but that would be the testing and the packaging work, whereas the hard labor, the labor-intensive work, would be done in China, where the labor was a bit cheaper. During this phase, the company Li and Fung actually purchased in-shape buying services, which allowed Li and Fung to actually source factories in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka to search for even the lowest, lower labor that's even cheaper than which was available in China. Looking through these three phases, it's clear that Li and Fung has retained an entrepreneurial spirit, allowing it to service its clients to a greater and greater degree, thus demonstrating its prowess in the space and explaining its substantial growth over the last 30 years. Thank you very much for your time.